Hello and welcome to the Academy 55 premium members and everybody else who's watching the recording. David Kahn here on uh, Monday, the 4th of August 2025. It's now 21 minutes past 2 in the afternoon. We're looking at the US 100, also known as the NAS 100. We're looking at it on the 1 minute time frame with the Academy 55 indicators and strategy. So, as we can see here, in another 8 minutes time, I fully expect a lot more volume in these candles. These candles will get at least 2 or 3 times bigger as the exchange opens over in New York. That always happens on 2:30 UK time. Obviously, in March and November, you have to check the daylight saving times because it's a little bit different then. But generally, we're looking for unfortunately, we won't be able to operate on the buy, and that buy came about because of the price going into the buy zone there. So we were looking for the next buy, which was there. It's actually shifted a bit. It was there, but it is there now. So we were looking for the next buy, which happened there. And up she went, and you would have got your 2% in the usual way. But now we are looking for volume to play a major part of our trading. So in another 7 minutes time, the volume will increase. Quickly, what we'll see here is if I put it on the 4 hourly, we have massive, well, first of all, we have daily imbalance, as you can see, because it's of this massive sell-off that happened on the Friday. So consequently, because of that, what I've done is I have put my fibs onto this rather sell-off anomaly. So at the top of there, where it started to sell off to the bottom, which is there, 50% of which is usually filled, and they haven't got to there yet. So this is by this white line here. So at some stage, price will come up to this white line. And at the same time, it's going through this fair value gap. So I am more or less expecting, get rid of this fib. I'm more or less not expecting, but thinking to myself that price will indeed, when the new stock exchange opens, will be wanting to get rid of this imbalance and possibly going up to the 50% line. That's not it. Sorry, the 50% line. It's a long way to go yet. And I more or less think that's what's going to happen. So more buying is in order. But we're going to go off volume and what the sentiment thought about the sell-off that happened over the Friday. They've had 2 or 3 days to think about it. What are they going to do? Are they going to further strengthen it back up to that white line that I drew, or even beyond, of course, or have a bit of a sell-off? Here's the buy zone here. So if we do have a sell-off, I'm going to quickly, if price does come down, this, by the way, is 2,000 units, which is the equivalent of 2 pips in the Forex world. I should say what we should do now is Make sure your risk to reward is in purple, your lot calc is in purple, and you got that all important 1% risk. Unfortunately, you can't take a buy. All we can do is take sells. So if it does carry on up, we'll just have to let it go, and it possibly will go through that fair value gap that we've drawn up here, and possibly up to that white line. And if it does that, no doubt there will be a sell-off in between time. It might get to here now, which is the sell zone, and then come back down again. We'll have to let that happen, or it might sell off right away, depending on what they thought of the actual news. We will find out in 3 minutes' time, where you'll see the volume increase by at least 2 or 3 times. So basically, whatever happens, going to happen is going to happen quick, possibly, and because it does most days at this time of day. But we've got a sell zone there, so if price does get here, if a sell does present itself, and the sell alert does happen, and I get into the trade there, I will be quick to put my stop loss to my entry, in case it, because as quick as it comes down, unfortunately, as quick as it can go up again, and both could happen within a very short space of time. But as you can see, we've had a slippage, and I think we're going to be seeing more buying pressure, which unfortunately we will not be able to act on. Not yet, anyway. And hopefully the volume will still stay there for us to activate on a sell, because we can't activate on a buy because the buy was there. Next alert we can activate on is a sell. So we'll just have to wait and see what it does. As you can see, we've got a countdown clock here. So we've got another minute, 5 seconds to go. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, I guess. We might have a sell, but my initial thoughts is what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of imbalance up here. There could be a lot of sell orders for them to take up here. We don't know. We'll find out in another minute. Actually, another 30 seconds. There's the countdown clock there. This is the scenario for the sell. Can't really do nothing on the buy. So I'm going to turn over to my MT4 just in case we do get a sell. And I'm going to put my 2,000 units, look, and I'm going to put it on for the sell because I can't operate on the buy. And we'll see what happens. So I've only got my finger on the sell just in case. And now the volume's kicked in. Watch the volume increase. Not interested in a buy at this time. And indeed, that's what's happening now. So I'm going to put it over to trading view a minute so we can see the bigger picture. And it is going towards either the sell zone or that 50% line that I drew up, and thus equalizing all this imbalance. It is what it is. Usually, well, not usually, but most times I'm able to operate as soon as 230 hits in. Sometimes we get a buy or a sell alert accordingly and follow the Academy 55 indicators in the way they're designed to do. but not this time because of that buy that happened at 1:15 this afternoon UK time, which is unfortunate. Well, not unfortunate, that's just the way it is. You've got to learn to accept whatever the charts are willing to give you. But we still might get a sell. It might have disseminated the news of that big sell-off on the Friday and see, yes, it's a good thing. Well, actually, no, it's not that good a thing. Let's keep selling. But there's certainly enough reasons for price to go a lot higher. To the 50% of the anomaly that I drew that happened at 1:30 on Friday afternoon, the non-farm payroll. But they could do that maybe later on today, maybe even tomorrow. But the only thing we can do is take a sell if one presents itself. As you can see, though, the volume is a lot more than at 2:30 than it was before that. See how tiny these candles are? They've gone to at least 3 times the size, as they all most days they do, because of the volume kicking in, because of the New York Stock Exchange opening at 2:30 UK time, 9:30 New York time. So we are waiting for a sell, basically. If one presents itself. Nice to see so many people on today. On a lot of the occasions, we get a buy or a sell on or near the 2:30, but not today. It happened at 1:15, an hour and 15 minutes before. So we can only activate on the sell if it presents itself. But it's most gingerly going up to possibly wipe out most of this fair value gap that was drawn up on the daily. And probably most certainly going into this, I'll put it on the 5-minute, into this sell zone where there could be more orders to collect. We don't know whether there is or not. Well, we know there is, but are there enough for them to bother with it right away? That's what I'm meaning. There are definitely orders in there. That's why that zone was drawn up. But in the meantime, we're looking for this sort of scenario, whether it presents itself during our time together. And we got extra confirmation to take the next sell now because we have indeed got into the sell zone here. Let's go on the 5-minute again, see how there are any more sell zones. Well, there's another sell zone just beyond that 50% line. So what I'm thinking to myself could be happening is price continuing on up, taking out this fair value gap as it does so, and going to that 50% of that anomaly that was occurred on 1:30 on Friday afternoon, a big sell-off. I can do this. If we quickly go to that 4-hourly, there we go. All selling power from there. All sells. Can amend that now. Go up to there. Doesn't really matter. and the 50% of which is there. So I wouldn't be surprised if price does get up to there eventually and then either break or bounce. But obviously it won't go straight up there. It will sell off a bit and then buy off a bit and sell off a bit. So we'll have to wait and see. And possibly not within our time together. It is what it is. All those watching on TradingView, just as a reminder, any trades taken today are purely for educational purposes only. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, there will be more of a delay than the Academy 55 members who are in the same room as me. Because of streaming issues, there could be up to like five seconds delay between me actually entering the trade and not, if you're watching on YouTube. So we have indeed breached the sell orders and it's still climbing merrily away. But the good news, really good news, is we haven't lost any money by doing this. But the reason why I was on today is because I'm going on vacation on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Steve has kindly stepped in for me on those days. And because of that, I usually have Mondays off. So I decided to do this for me, which is an unusual day for me to do on a Monday. But I've decided to do this because of the lack of days I'd be doing during the week. But yes, so Steve will be here on for the Academy 55 members on Wednesday morning. The lists of which are in our Facebook group and on WhatsApp, I do believe. Me, I'm going to be back again tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock looking at the EUR USD. And to that scenario, we are going to be looking at EUR USD as well. And I've got them on other monitors. But we're well and truly in the sell zone now for the US 100, and for the EUR USD, we're not in any zones, 5-minute buy or sell zones. But if we do, I will make us all aware of that. Obviously, if it carries on selling, a parallel will push above, and I want all these to turn red, 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 and my stop loss will be there, but that may or may not happen. And we've got plenty of reasons to suggest why it wouldn't happen, because of the fair value gap we see up there and the 50% line and all that stuff. But it meanders its way up there, and in the meantime, we might have a retracement trade worth having. For example, it might come down and meet the purple line before going back up again. In the meantime, I think I'll put it back on the trading view because we're nowhere near any form of a trade yet. which is still activating on that buy way back at 1:15 this afternoon, UK time. And in the meantime, it's still merrily munching its way through the fair value gap, the imbalance that we see up here. Well past the sell zone. So we know we're in sell zone territory, which is good. So while we're at this impasse, I'm going to play this.
Hi, this is Steve with a very short video to show you where to get the training for the indicators and tools we use inside Academy 55. So once you're logged into the members area, you'll see in the premium dashboard this section that's entitled Start Learning. And if you click here, that'll take you through to the learning library. Now, we'll say at this point, we highly recommend you watch each of these videos 2 or 3 times to get a full understanding of how everything works. Here you'll find tutorials on using the MT4 Trade Assistant and how to use the MT4 platform with the Trade Assistant. This is the longest video you'll find inside the platform. It's around 30 minutes long, well worth your time. Watch the video once, then maybe write a few questions down that you might have for yourself, and watch the video for a second time, and things will really start to make sense. By the time you watch it 3 times, you'll fully understand how everything works. So that's the longest video. It's about 30 minutes long, well worth your time. And then you can jump into individual trainings here for how to remove indicators. These videos are just a couple of minutes long. How to move MetaTrader around like you can in TradingView, Trading Assistant controls, how to do back testing in TradingView, how to draw vertical lines to mark out your hour, and so much more. And by the time you watch this video or see this video, there might be other trainings in this section. But everything here is well worth your time, and you find that, as I said a moment ago, from the main dashboard in the Start Learning section. Now, one more thing just to mention here. If you're looking for anything in particular, if you come down to the support name of FAQs, click on Get Support, and in this area you'll find a detailed FAQ section, and you can come through here. For example, if you're looking for an answer to a question about MetaTrader, have a look through these, and once you click through you'll find direct links to videos that give you answers to most of the questions that we get asked on a regular basis. So hopefully you found this useful, and back to your further training.
Thank you, Steve. So that's where our Academy 55 members see all that. So this is the scenario. We're still waiting for a elusive sell, but as I say, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets up to this line. Maybe in this move, we might have a sell-off, but I think at the moment, I'm thinking this is at least its initial goal up to here, the 50% line of that big anomaly. It'll get up there eventually for certain, but when remains to be seen. So let's turn our attentions to, there we got that on the minute scenario, so we can see what's going on there. And let's have a quick look at the EUR USD. Put it on the 5-minute time frame. Waiting for the, oh, there we go. Take the indicators off because we're only looking at it on the 5-minute. And indeed, price has gone into the sell zone at 230. So perhaps maybe EU USD was the right one to go on. So indeed, at 230, it was in the sell zone. Put the indicators back on the 1-minute, and short position, a minimum of 2.2 pips away. You would have got in there, but no, you wouldn't have got in there. You would have got in about there and give yourself about a 5.5 pip stop loss, and your 2% would be there. In actual fact, we are at that junction now, so at the entry level now, so although we missed the entry, there's maybe a second chance for us to get in or the sell. So obviously I'd be crazy to try and get in while it's buying like that. So I'm going to let it, that's good. So I'm going to let it flip that parabolic saw above price. So indeed, but I'm already at 5.3 pips here. So that'll be about an 8 pip move. And if I look on trading view, and on the 5 minute, well, there's no buy zones. There's imbalance. Oh, there is now. Oh, right. So I'll mark that up on my so I can't get into the trade until it gets down here. And that indeed would be a 9 pip stop loss, which is quite big, but that takes us into that sort of scenario just above the buy zone, which is kind of acceptable. In actual fact, it'd be a bit lower than that because the trend line will be closer to the entry. So that makes it a 7.8 pip stop loss, and that'll push that up to there. That's indeed if the EUR comes down. I've got the US 100 on the other monitor, and we're still climbing. It's going to the moon, actually. So there ain't going to be any selling going on there, I don't suggest, during my time. But let's put it back on the MT4. And indeed, my stop loss will be down there on the trend line, because that now is closer. So we get a parallel flip from this downward momentum, I'm going to be in the trade for a sell. But as you can see, we're having sideways motion now, so it doesn't look like a very trendy market. Hasn't been trending really since there. But I've been following my stop loss down as the trend line goes down. And if the parallel saw price comes down to swallow the parallel saw, sending that above, then that would be a sell. I'll be carrying on the sell, if indeed that's what happens. We shall see. I'll leave that go floating for a minute. And indeed, it's still coming out to counter all that imbalance before carrying on down again. Don't really know. Let's have a quick look on the this is the scenario for the sell on EURUSD. Have a quick look at the our US 100 up there. Actually, we'll keep it on here because we can see both there, can't we? And that's the scenario for the sell on the US 100. That's the scenario for the sell on the EURUSD. Somebody on Facebook has, sorry, somebody on YouTube, Dejan has asked a question, do I have a spread? Well, with Accounting 55, we don't need to work out the spread because we have our trade assistant. And once you become an Accounting 55 member, you get trained up on the trade assistant. It works out the lot size for you automatically, which is invaluable when you're doing trading on the minute. We only risk 1%. You put in your 1% there. It already calculates on the size. And indeed we could be coming close to a, if this carries on down and swallows up parabolic SAR, then I'm into the trade for a sell because I'm at 5.1 pips already. The trend line being closest to the actual entry price. There we go on there. So if this carries on down, swallows up parabolic SAR to send it up, then I'm instantly in a sell on the EURUSD like that. There we go. So there we go. I'm in the sell for on the EURUSD. Let's put it on TradingView. And there it is on TradingView as well. Let's concentrate on EURUSD now because I hope there's enough volume to break the purple line because we got imbalances down here on this candle here. Hopefully there is reasons for price to want to get down there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off our 1 minute indicators and go onto the 5 minute time frame and discover that we have imbalances down here for price to break into if it so wishes to do so during our time. It will do eventually, but whether it does within our trade remains to be seen. But I'm well ahead of the buy zone, which is down there, which is good. So indeed, what started out as me looking for a sell on the US 100 turned out into be a sell on the EURUSD. But that's the only two right, the spread. The spread is actually on the EURUSD is like 0.3 pips. Not a lot at all. That's the spread there. We have indeed, we'll go back on a minute, put my indicators back on. Hopefully we'll respect that, come down and have enough volume to push through that line. But we are already in the trade. So whatever happens, happens. Will it be a 1% loss or a 2% gain? It's not that great a trade really because of this snaking movement here. It's going in between zones. So I'm not really, it's not really a trending market. Yeah, we won't concentrate on US 100 anymore. Only take one trade at a time because we only need 1 or 2 trades a day. Really, I'd rather be in the US 100, but it wasn't to give us a trade during our time together because this trade is more sideways sort of movement. I'm just hoping we have enough volume now to break that purple line, the EMA 462, which will be really good for us. But it's just playing along that line now because that's the average of 462 of these candles, which is a Fibonacci number. But you know the old saying, what I usually say if I wasn't watching this trade, what I would do is I would go and make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or walk away from the screen really because we've made our decision. We indeed accept a 1% loss or a 2% gain, and history has shown us with the back testing that we have a 75% win rate by doing this. So, but that means we have a 25% of failure. But by doing, it's all about percentages, by still going with a very small monthly target, i.e. 10%, and keep doing this constantly. I indeed, most months I end up, well, every month so far since February 2024, I've ended up in profit. But most months I get my 10%. Not every month, but it is what it is. But I'm quite happy with my results. Working on the basis of a $100,000 prop firm account. But yeah, this sideways movement I don't like the look of, but we took the trade, and indeed, well, you'll see. My stop loss has become an order. Let's have a look. Oh, right, I'm out of the trade because my stop loss was an order. My stop loss was about there. It just come in, nabbed my stop loss. Indeed, it did bounce off against the purple line. Rather a shame. But attentions have turned now. I won't be trading any more now. because of the 1% loss. It's silly for me to do so. I'm not putting myself at risk of over trading or fear of missing out or greed or anything like that, or what they call it, revenge trading. Nothing like that at all. Because I appreciate price does things for a reason. And when I did look at this trade on the EURUSD, in hindsight, you can see all this sideways movement. I mean, it's not a trending market at all. It's a consolidatory market, and it's a lot more riskier trading in the consolidatory market. But we give it a go, and I lost 1% for doing that. So being that's a consolidatory market on the EURUSD, not a trending market like the unfortunately the trend's going the wrong way for us. We can't act on this because it's all buy, buy, buy. And because of that, it cost me 1%, but that's nothing in the scheme of things. And also, going back to the EURUSD again, if you was tempted to carry on this sell, what makes you think that we're going to get all the way down here? Because we've seen what happens. The trend is very, 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 very stunted, and something I've already cost me 1%. If we break this purple line, no, I'm not playing the game. I will paper trade, because if we break this purple line, then we could have a bigger sell on our hands. But I'm not going to be trading that. I'm going to paper trade it, like I said. Paratoro has already flipped. Price gets down to here and breaks this. And indeed, that is like an 8 pip stop loss. Plenty big enough, really. Just takes me into the buy zone down here. So we might paper trade that during our time together, but I'm not trading anymore because of the consolidatory, very nervy action. Pick up because of the lack of volume. Though I've said this many, many times before, they actually go on what's called a stop hunt, where they wait for you to put they trick people in to put their sell or their buy orders in, and then they'll go up and nab those orders and all the time maintain this sideways movement. Obviously making money as they go, grabbing people's equity. That's what happened to us. And I've been bitten once, so I ain't going to be bitten again at this juncture. So I'll put that there just in case anything does happen. But going back to the US 100, there's plenty of good reasons for price to continue on up. Not to say it's going to do it right away, because look, there's the 50% line where price might bounce and then come back down again, or it could still carry on up. Because don't forget, if I go on the well, first of all, if I take the indicators off and go on the 4-hourly time frame, there is daily imbalance up to there. I'll amend that. Up to there. Daily imbalance. And indeed, there's a bit more daily imbalance from that wick there to that wick there. Change conditions. That is so that's daily imbalance up there also. So there's our 50% line. Now it could bounce off that, but indeed, because of that imbalance there, you could at least tap into this imbalance here and it will fill that imbalance. Just a question of when. So indeed, it has broken that 50% now. Has it? No, it hasn't. Sorry, it hasn't. Could be tapping into this area here. Which has already done so. And then coming back down again. Put my indicators back on. This is the scenario for the sell on the NAS 100. Long way to go yet. And as you can see on the EUR USD, we're having more consolidation. It never did come down to this area and broke that the purple line. Let's just see if there's any new zones being formed. Putting on the 5-minute. Get rid of that one. That was a previous sell zone. And indeed, it's tapped into that imbalance several times. And now it could be coming down for a short sell-off. And indeed, I could be tempted to get into here for a sell if one presents itself. We've got a red volume ribbon at the moment. I'm 2,000 units away from price, which is equivalent to 2 pips on the Forex world. So if a sell presents itself, I could be tempted to get into that. Because this is a lot more trending market than the EUR USD, which is gone sideways, and I was tempted into that one because I didn't foresee myself having enough time while we were together to take a sell on the US 100, and we still might not because I've already got another 10 minutes left. But we may yet get a sell alert on the US 100. US 100. I mean, there's imbalance down here. There. Price might get down to here. Or there. Or there. And of course, obviously, it might just get down to there as well, which any scenario will get our 2%. Thanks very much. If it was to go like that, but now, as you can see, even the US 100 has gone sideways. In what must be these very nervy times for investors of a lot of money, one way or the other, because world conditions, lots of things are going on. Seems like if President Trump gets out of bed and stubs his toe the wrong way, now the markets will pick up on it, and he changes his mind like the wind. So it all makes for very nervy investment, and it sort of plays, and that's part of the sideways movement as well. What do you do? Somebody changes their mind all the time. Must be a nightmare if you're investing large sums of money. But yeah, so that's where we want it for a sell. Let's have a look on the on that. That's, put off the EUR USD at this moment because of this sideways movement, and we're getting more of the same. At least we're having a bit of a trend with the US 100. But it too now has gone into consolidatory mode at the moment, but hoping it's going to pick up again. Let's read the latest info. Wall Street springs higher. Well, it certainly did. And indeed, there's plenty enough reasons for price to want to get through there, and at least up to there, or possibly beyond. So I'm not being too optimistic about getting a nice clear sell anyway. I'll go away and come back stronger again, either later on today or indeed tomorrow. Probably tomorrow, actually, if I can see the markets in my favor. Appreciate all you guys watching. I appreciate the times we're trading in. Appreciate the conditions you're seeing of the trades, in other words, sideways movement and trending, distinct between the two. It's now tapping into that daily imbalance. Like I said, getting up to there, or will it go beyond there and tap into this other daily imbalance that we drew before indeed deciding to come back down again? But the US 100 has been bullish over the last few weeks now. And indeed, they are breaking records all the time. Loving the idea of these tariffs that Trump's putting out. Capitalizing off that. So indeed, we could see record, I'm not saying nothing for certain, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see records of 24 being hit up here even. This area here, as you can see, is a long way to go. It wouldn't be surprising. And indeed, I put the question into AI and they said you could see what's going on with the spread at the tariffs at the moment and all that. Wouldn't be surprising to see those sort of scenarios. So at this rate, I'm going to be relying on Steve to get me out of the loss situation at the moment, but it's early days. I'll remind you what I just said earlier on. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, I will not be trading. Steve, for Academy 55 members, will be taking up the mantle because I'll be on vacation. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to have a sell. So I'm coming up to doing an hour now. Yeah, pure consolidation with the EUR USD. So I'm not going to be tempted into any sort of trade with that. It's doing its best to try and fool us all. Encouraging more retail traders to put their stop losses up here, but I ain't going to be one of them now. And this is the scenario for both. So I'll see all you guys on Academy 55 members tomorrow. And at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, UK time. So until then, have a great day and speak to you soon. Bye for now. Hello, this is David Kahn here on Monday, the 4th of August, and the time is now 16:53. Second trade of the day. Unfortunately, the first one lost 1%. So picked on the second one. There was a buy bias, so took the second buy, and let's see how this one turns out. Okay, so the actual trade is going incredibly slowly. I am up well over 1%, so I think I'll take it there because it's going into consolidation. Could go one way or the other, so I will take it there. So 1.3%, not bad at all.